Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. 5 for Friday, Steelers have continued to fill roster holes. Like a number of the team's moves that have largely flown under the radar, even among Steelers fans, the re-signing of offensive tackle Calvin Anderson earlier this week was an important one for the team. Anderson, 29, isn't a star. In fact, in his previous 5 seasons, he's started just 14 games. But he's also appeared in 50 career games. More importantly, he's a natural left tackle, and he fills a valuable spot on the team's roster. As currently constructed, the Steelers' starting offensive line in 2025 is projected to be Broderick Jones at left tackle with Troy Fautanu on the right side, Isaac Seumalo and Mason McCormick at the guard spots and Zach Frazier at center. But, particularly at tackle, those are projections. Jones has made 27 starts in his first 2 NFL seasons, but the majority of his playing time has come at right tackle. Jones has lined up at left tackle for 122 offensive snaps, all of which came in his rookie season. Fautanu, meanwhile, appeared in just 1 game as a rookie in 2024 before being lost for the season to knee injury. And that game was played at right tackle. Both Jones and Fautanu played left tackle in college. But they don't have much, if any, playing on the left side in the NFL. That's why when asked about his starting offensive line recently at the NFL meetings, head coach Mike Tomlin wasn't about to anoint that group in its entirety as the starters. "I feel like we have some guys that are certainly capable of the role," Tomlin said. "But to say that as I sit here today, would be untrue. I don't know who I'm going to end up with or who I'm going to be in position to consider." In other words, Tomlin is going to make that group earn it. And who knows what will be available in the draft or who might become available in free agency? Can Anderson push any of the tackles? His history shows that probably isn't the case. But, what he can do is fill an important role as the team's swing tackle, a role he played last season. That takes the necessity of the Steelers having to tackle an offensive tackle in the draft off the board. That is important, as it opens up their draft board. With Anderson back in the fold, he joins Jones, Fautanu, Spencer Anderson, Dylan Cook and Doug Nestor on the roster as tackle-capable players. But Anderson's primary experience in games has come at guard, while Cook and Nestor have yet to appear in a regular season game. Our goal is always to put ourselves in a position where we don't have to take a guy at a specific position, Steelers GM Omar Khan told Steelers.com recently. And I feel like we've added some key pieces to what we're trying to accomplish. And this draft there's some really good players in this draft that can help us at various positions. We've been working hard at trying to make sure we set our board right, and there's more work to come. Does Anderson signing preclude the Steelers from taking an offensive tackle in the draft? Certainly not. But what it does do is ensure that if they don't take a tackle in the draft, it's not the end of the world. It's understandable that every visit the Steelers make with a draft-eligible quarterback is big news. After all, the team currently doesn't have a long-term answer at that position. The team is doing its due diligence at the position. But simply because they are doing their due diligence doesn't mean they're absolutely taking a quarterback early in the draft no matter what. They're unlikely to reach on a player simply because they don't have a long-term answer at the position. Given that the quarterbacks they've spoken to thus far at the scouting combine, various pro days and pre-draft visits have been players expected to selected in the first round to those expected to be selections on the 3rd day of the draft, it doesn't seem the Steelers are necessarily centered on taking one at any one specific round. It seems more about doing their homework if someone happens to be available in a certain spot. Regardless of whether the Steelers acquire another veteran quarterback or not, and they will acquire someone, they will take 4 quarterbacks to training camp in late July. And right now, they only have 2, Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson, on the roster. Is TJ Watt worth $40 million to the Steelers? The fact that TJ Watt posted a picture on Instagram caused a stir among Steelers fans, and even beyond. Giving a peace sign, as a possible sign of departure, some interpreted this to be related to contract negotiations. While many are prone to overanalysis of mundane things, some reporters have followed up and indicated that there are some rumblings about that very thing. Not that it should be any cause for concern. The last time the Steelers signed TJ Watt to an extension, it came at the last minute. When you're negotiating at the very top of the market, things can take some time. This isn't about whether or not Watt and the Steelers will get something done, in other words. Rather, it's about whether it should happen, and at what part of the market. Watt will turn 31 years old later this year, and he had merely a second-team All-Pro season in 2024. So what is the price tag for that, relative to others? Of course, the Browns reset the market by giving Myles Garrett a $40 million APY extension. What people don't talk about, though, is that Garrett still had 2 years left on his deal. The Steelers only have TJ Watt under contract through the 2025 season, so the numbers can be interpreted differently. Garrett got $40 million per year in new money, but that doesn't hit until 2027. For the next 2 years, he is playing off a contract worth $25 million APY. Watt has 1 year left on a $28 million APY deal with the Steelers, so a 3-year, $120 million extension would look different. When you figure out the cash flow over the length of the deal, you can fudge the numbers. Garrett won't see $76 million of his deal until 2029 and 2030, for example. Will the Browns want to pay him that by then? He has nothing guaranteed beyond the 2027 season. But back to us. Garrett reset the market to $40 million APY in new money. Should the Steelers view TJ Watt as worth that? I think it's a given that Watt believes he is worth that, at least if Garrett is. The Steelers did this to themselves by not jumping on an extension early. Now they have a tough choice to make, at least for those on the outside. In the long run, I don't see any complications in their finishing this deal. Shedeur Sanders' clear message to teams could help him fall to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Shedeur Sanders does not want to be picked by one of the teams in the top 3 of the 2025 NFL Draft, according to ESPN's Louis Riddick. Riddick, who is close with Colorado head coach and Sanders' father, Deion, said he talked with him at Colorado's Pro Day last week. Deion made it clear that the Cleveland Browns, Tennessee Titans, and New York Giants were not the desired landing spots for Shedeur. I hope he doesn't go in the top 3 picks, Riddick said regarding Shedeur on First Take. I hope he doesn't. And I think his camp would tell you the same thing. There are other teams they want to go to. Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland.com caught up with Riddick on Wednesday and he expanded upon his thoughts, adding he views Sanders as an ideal fit with the Steelers. In some respects, there are other teams that I hope he goes to, that I think would be good fits for him, Riddick told Cabot. I do feel that way. I do feel like him going to a place like New Orleans or going to a place like Pittsburgh or Las Vegas. I think they would be very good fits for him. Sanders is in Pittsburgh for a visit on Thursday. While this is the first outward sign of interest for Sanders and the Steelers, the fact that he is coming to Pittsburgh for a visit suggests the team is doing its homework on him. The Steelers had a key opportunity to see Sanders on Friday in his special showcase, along with Travis Hunter and other Colorado prospects. Yet, the team did not even send a position coach or high-level front office member, which could suggest they are cooler on him as a prospect. And you, fan? What do you think about Shedeur Sanders' situation? Write to us in the comments.